all branding and marketing is one-to-one. There's not really companies selling to companies or companies selling to large demographic groups of people. Those are useful constructs for developing marketing and branding strategies, but at the end of the day, there's a brand selling to a human, interacting with a human. And if you're a solo entrepreneur, it's you are the product interacting with your individual audience. Outside of business, we would call that a relationship. And it is my strong belief that branding and marketing follows the same rules as healthy relationships, especially intimate relationships. Number one is thinking in terms of interaction versus transaction. In a healthy personal relationship, it is not transactional. There's not trading. There's not scorekeeping or a ledger. There's just interaction, the back and forth. And that happens in things like conversations or acts of service or words of affirmation. Those are all part of the interaction, and you can do that with your brand as well. You can tell your clients that you love them. You can practice random acts of kindness. You can have conversations with your audience. That builds the trust of the relationship. The second area are roles and rituals. Roles are how you do things kind of on a day-to-day basis, the logistics of the relationship. And rituals are the sacred elements. Now, in branding and marketing, roles are between typically you as the brand and then your audience, which can be like you're the thought leader and they're the disciple, is one way to look at it. And there are many other roles that you can look at. Another one is peer-to-peer. Rituals are the sacred moments of the brand. We would call that the customer experience in a business language, but I really think it's more ritualistic than that. How do you onboard people when you land a new client? How do you interact to ask for feedback? All of those are rituals that are opportunities to show the sacredness of the relationship that you have with the individuals that make up your audience. The last thing here to share is that just like in intimate relationships, there are passion killers. There are things that kill the fire between you and your audience members. And a couple of those are being impersonal. One of the things we say sort of jokingly but seriously is with surveys is don't ask a question to your audience that you wouldn't ask after intimacy. You wouldn't say, well, how was that for you on a scale of 1 to 10? Another area that's a passion killer is the taking each other for granted, especially the brand taking the client for granted. And the third passion killer is that there's no, back to the roles and rituals, the rituals become roles or the rituals become routines, and there's something that begins to miss. And you can hear when customers or consumers say this, that the brand lost its soul. That's what that is. That's that drift. That's very natural, but without great leadership, that drift happens, and then there's this separation, and then it becomes transactional, and it becomes something not taken seriously, something that becomes less important. Now, there's a bunch of neuroscience that backs all of this up. If you're interested, I can share that with you. But the main thing is that we're just individual humans experiencing life. And when we come in contact with a brand, we're going to use the same parts of our mind as we do with other humans. And therefore, relating is branding and marketing.